everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with the Ladies Twist. I'm your host, Clifton. Welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Happy, I was say New Year if you missed me last week, but I am so excited for tonight because I'm getting to bring up a topic of discussion that I kind of have a little bit of varying opinions on. So I asked on Discord earlier today, do you think whiskey can be seasonal? Do you think there's certain whiskeys for certain times of the year and certain whiskeys for other times of the year? So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today, but we're going to do it through two releases from Jim Beam, one of which is a new release, which is their Jim Beam Winter Reserve. Now this is released, of course, exclusively for the winter, or I guess it came out late fall. We're going to be comparing that to the Sunshine Blend, which of course is a summer/spring release. So that's going to be the catalyst of our discussion, but we're just going to make it an open discussion as well. I know a lot of people say like, oh, this is the perfect fall whiskey, this is the perfect spring whiskey. So we're going to be going through different ones and which ones we think fit each season. So that's the plan tonight, but thank you all for tuning in, whether you're watching live or watching the replay. I see Four Leaf Whiskey's here. Good to see you, Stacy. M is here. Brandon is here. Donnie is here. Tony is here. And Zover is here. Great crowd. Like, I was running a little bit late. I was like, oh no. But I made it. Because I wanted to get, I knew I had a little baby original Jim Beam sitting somewhere. So I wanted to have this one to kind of balance and see like, okay, let's see a regular Jim Beam versus a summer Jim Beam versus a winter Jim Beam. That's the plan. But hopefully y'all are having a good night. I have, yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say. I just woke up from, the reason I was late, I honestly was sleeping on that beanbag right there, and I woke up and it was like 7 o'clock. I'm like, oh crap. But I knew what I had to do. So, yeah, so these releases from Jim Beam, the Sunshine Blend, actually, I've seen, it came out last year for sure. I pulled up their page here to see kind of what it's all about because, like I said, it's it's definitely different, right? It doesn't say anything specific. It just says Jim Beam Sunshine Blend. It says made for mixing and sharing. So, um, so this kind of talks a little bit about there's nothing like a bourbon cocktail on a sunny afternoon. A sweet sunshine blend, perfect for cocktails, made to mix and be shared. So I don't have a cocktail here, but I do want to drink it neat because I feel like it wouldn't be fair to do it as a cocktail and then do this other one as a neat pour. So we're gonna do it neat, but like I said, it's kind of meant to be a cocktail Jim Beam. Yes, love a power nap. Literally, I was like, you know what? It was like 6:30 and I just finished dinner. I'm like, I could use a nap right now. So overslept a little bit, but it's all good. Yeah. So have you guys had these? I'm curious for those in the chat. Um, because I've not had them yet. I'm very excited. I'm gonna go ahead and get them poured. So we're gonna start with the Sunshine Blend on the left. Oh, what's up? Patrick's here. He said he enjoyed the Sunshine. Awesome. Yeah, I've never had this one. Like I said, I saw it on the shelves, but again, I don't really know the differences here. This one though, this one does have some info here. It says the secret behind Sunshine Blend is that it's a delicate blend of our classic Kentucky Straight bourbon whiskey and a new bourbon made with brown rice and aged for 4 years. So this one's a different mash bill. It's a blend with a different mash bill, which is kind of fun. So there's that one, and then there's the standard Jim Beam. You know, Jim Beam White Label, the one we all know and love. I'm gonna pour that one in the middle glass here. What's up, Whiskey Pear? Good to see you, man. Hope you are doing well. I saw you message on Discord and I haven't opened it because I fell asleep. Okay, so there's that one, and then on the far right, I'm gonna do the new Winter Reserve. Now, this one, it's a little confusing because it says notes of vanilla and cinnamon, so it almost makes you think that it's flavored. I'm like, wait, this is a flavored whiskey. No, it's not though. It is 86 proof, 43% ABV, 6 years old. There's an age statement here, and it's toasted white oak barrels. Come on, this focus is really bad about this side labels here. There you go. So this is a toasted barrel, and I think someone was saying like it's like one of the most affordable toasted barrel releases that are out there. Oh, choppy audio. I hope not. I haven't changed any settings, so let me know. All right, so we got all those ports. We have the standard Jim Beam white label. There's no age statement, but we know it's around 4 years old. We have the Jim Beam Sunshine Blend, which is 4 years old, plus that brown rice bourbon, and the new winter blend with the toasted oak. So let's see, do these really taste like springtime and wintertime? Let's find out. So yeah, let's go. Let's start with springtime, right? This is, I think, the hardest category. So we're kind of starting with the hardest one. Which whiskeys would you consider like a springtime pour? If you're like, oh, okay, the flowers are blooming, the grass is turning, like coming back to life. What whiskey kind of pairs with that? And that's one that I struggled with because like I can always think of like a fall pour or a winter pour, but a springtime pour. I mean, the first one that comes to mind for me is weirdly enough, Orchard House, which is, I think it's technically supposed to be like a fall one. It's a Compass Box release. To me, that one is so bright and floral and fruity. To me, that is like the perfect springtime whiskey. Actually, I wish I had some. I would have poured that as well. But yeah, I think something springtime has to have some floral elements. I think spring is all about flowers. So I gotta think of something that's like refreshing, floral, maybe fruity, like bright fruits though. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. What would be a good floral or a good springtime whiskey? But now let's try the sunshine batch. Well, actually, no. Let me start with just the Jim Beam White. That way we can have a base point to see how it differs. Okay, so this is just Jim Beam White label. Have not drank this neat in years. I probably did shots of this in college, honestly. But yeah, Jim Beam White label, standard on the shelf bottle. Not bad on the nose. I mean, it's definitely like a bright, really bright, definitely not much oak age on it. Like I said, I think it's around 4 years old, but like I don't know. Oh, Brandon says Buffalo Trace. That's a good one for spring. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It is bright. It's definitely, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, so Jim Beam White Label, good on the nose, very, very sweet though. I have a feeling it's going to be sweet on the palate too, and very, very nutty. Let's try it. Cheers. I mean, it's so weird to drink something so, I don't want to say basic, but so, standard. Like, I mean, Jim Beam White Label is probably one of the most popular, best-selling whiskeys out there. There's nothing wrong with it. Would I choose to drink it neat? No, probably not. But now I'm curious about the Sunshine Blend because they actually tell you to mix this in cocktails. So, but I'm curious to see what makes it different. So, I'm setting the palate with the white label, by the way, which is 80 proof, I assume. Yeah, both the white label and the Sunshine Blend are 80 proof. So, same proof. It's so weird because I'm so used to starting these streams and like starting with high proof stuff, and then I'm like, wow, that's kicking me in the teeth. But like now I'm like, oh, this is like so light. It kind of surprised me because I haven't had any whiskey yet. So yeah, not bad. I wouldn't, Jim Beam and Coke. Brandon says, yeah. I think I probably did more of that than Jack and Coke. Honestly, I think probably Jack and Coke was like probably one of the first ones I did, but I'm pretty sure I drank more Jim Beam and Coke. All right, so now let's move to the Sunshine Blend. Let's see how it differs from the standard Jim Beam White Label. Like I said, it does say made for mixing, but I want to try it neat because it's mixed with a new brown rice bourbon. On the nose, I will say it's almost a bit more mellow. It's like there's the Jim Beam, the classic nutty note on the white label that you just associate with Jim Beam. This one is kind of similar, but it's definitely mellowed down a little bit. Maybe almost like it kind of reminds me of more of like a wheated bourbon. Like to me, those are like way more mellow on the nose, and I'm wondering if that's the brown rice impact it has. Now I have had a. Do y'all remember when Jim Beam did those like experimental releases that they use different grains? I think whiskey or Bourbon Noob sent me a bunch of samples from that years ago. Like literally when I was first starting the channel, it was one of the first flights I did, and I think he had a brown rice one, if I remember correctly. So I'm curious if this is some of the same stock of that brown rice. What's up, Chris? How's it going, man? Good to see you. It's been a minute. All right, let's go ahead and taste the Sunshine Blend. By the way, price point, the Winter Reserve and the Sunshine Blend are about the same price, right around 20, 21-ish dollars. Jim Beam White Label, of course, is like 14, 15, depending on where you get it. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Weirdly enough, even though this is made for mixing, I enjoy it neat more than the Jim Beam White Label. Oh, Signature Craft. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I couldn't remember the name of it. Um, Tritical. I assume that's a grain. I don't know. I don't think I had that one. Um, Interesting. Okay, so you know how I said like the Jim Beam White Label, it was fine. It was sorry, my watch keeps going off. I'm getting messages from work to make sure there's nothing urgent. Yeah, the white label's fine. There's not a finish. There's no body. It's just it hits you and then it's gone. Perfect for like what you would think for taking a shot, right? But this Sunshine Blend has more character to it. Very interesting. First of all, up front, it's got a little bit more of a, I don't know how to say the note. It's almost like a corn puff, like a cereal. It has like a bit of a cereal note, but it hangs around. The mid palate is really nice, actually. It's like for that being only 80 proof, it does stick around, and the finish is not bad at all. That is a really delightful bourbon, and I think it kind of hits the notes that I think. Well, Brandon gave the suggestion of Buffalo Trace as a spring whiskey. I think this kind of hits the same notes. It's a light, but it's got character to it. Same with Buffalo Trace. This, you could drink it in a cocktail for sure. This would do great in mm, like a whiskey lemonade or something. I'm trying to think like a Bramble, because I'm trying to think of like what bright whiskey cocktails I've had. Normally, of course, go for an old fashioned. I go for a Manhattan or a Sazerac, but I have had some lighter whiskey cocktails, whiskey lemonade, like a Bramble, like with some um, blackberries kind of crushed up in it, mint julep, right? So those are more bright whiskey cocktails that you have during the spring and summer. So it's so interesting to me that I think we do think of cocktails as seasonal as well. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Not to say like you're wrong to drink a mint julep in the middle of December, or vice versa, drink an old fashioned in the middle of summer. But I think it is kind of fun to see what we gravitate towards each season. All right, so I'm a fan of the Sunshine Blend. I would rather drink this neat over Jim Beam White Label, believe it or not. Yeah, this one's it's fine. It's a shooter, honestly. But now let's go. Let's take a sip of the Jim Beam White Label to reset my palate and get back into the center of the flavor wheel. Then we're gonna try the new Winter Reserve. So this is the one that is the notes of vanilla and cinnamon, 86 proof, 6-year-old toasted white oak barrel. So that's gonna be definitely different for sure. All right, so let's go to the white label real quick. Yeah, even come from the Sunshine Blend. It's fine. All right, Jim Beam Winter Reserve. Like I said, this is a new release. I'm really excited to see a budget toasted bourbon. The nose is very different. There's way more age to. Well, I would say there's more age to it, but it could just be the toasted note. That's making me feel that way. It has more of an oak influence. Like I said, the Jim Beam White didn't have that. It was nutty and it was sweet. This one has a bit of like that barrel char, which normally I associate with an older whiskey, but I think this is just because of that toasted oak that's being used with it. Let's give it a try. Cheers. Mm. Okay. Yeah, I think similar to the Sunshine Blend, there's way more character here. I love that they're trying different. This isn't just like a label slapped on it. Sometimes people are like, "Oh, this is our whatever release." This is actually different. It's a different product. It does have some of those sweeter toasted marshmallow kind of notes I get on a toasted bourbon. Now, very faint. This is not like comparable to like one of those really nice toasted bourbons or even a toasted rye for that matter. It's it's very very subtle, but it is there and it's really nice. Brandon makes a great comment. Don't forget that toasted whiskeys take a while to open up. Yes, I've been trying to like let it sit for a minute. These all have been poured the same amount of time. It's good. I like it. I think it's which now it's funny, like which do I prefer, right? Do I prefer the sunshine one? Do I prefer the brighter flavors? Or do I prefer the darker flavors with the winter reserve? And that, like I said, brings up to the topic. It's like I think I tend to gravitate towards more traditionally fall and winter whiskeys as my favorites. I mean, I think the one that comes to mind, obviously, and of course the chat mentioned it earlier, Middle Year's Night Dram, like the perfect holiday pour. I've always said this. It has some of those berry spices that remind me so much of the holiday time, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas. To me, this one pairs perfectly with a holiday dinner or after dinner cocktails. I always consider it a fall or winter whiskey, and I think not to say you can't drink it in the spring or the summer, but those heavy fruity notes really do hold up for the cold weather, right? You want something to be warm, wants to warm you up. Whereas in the spring and summer, you don't want like I mean, not to speak for everyone else, but when I'm in the summer, I don't want to drink a high proof, heavy bourbon, especially when I'm outside. Like to me, if it's hot and I'm drinking high proof, I need it on the rocks. And I think that's the way I typically, some people think like, oh, summer, like I said, some people drink like the brambles and like the things, the like mint juleps and stuff. To me, I actually prefer just whiskey on the rocks. That's kind of my go-to summer thing. I love pouring. I used to pour some Booker's on the rocks. Lately, it's been Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Pour it on the rocks and like enjoy that during the summer. I really enjoy that. It's to me. I don't think distinctly spring, summer, fall, winter. To me, it's cool weather, warm weather. That makes the most sense to me. Like I said, Midwinter's Night Jam is like the warm weather, cozy pour. Things like high proof on ice to me is my warm weather whiskey. So I wanted to hear other people's thoughts. I did ask on Discord earlier today just to kind of get some input. Did hear from a few other folks. Let me pull that up right now. Um, yeah, so Brandon, like I said, like he prefers rye whiskey, especially barrel proof rye, during the winter for sure. Tyler says, fall, I do prefer a more flavorful bourbon. Anything barrel proof or finished. Spring and summer are usually whiskey cocktails. Manhattan's old fashioned. So, okay, so it's kind of a different take. I associate those more with, I guess I think of those as those more whiskey spirit forward cocktails. For me personally, they're more cold weather cocktails. But that's interesting that Tyler actually prefers them during the spring and summer. Fred says, I drink more bourbon and rye in the winter and more malt whiskey in the warmer months, particularly ex-bourbon matured. Sherry malts are definitely good for winter too. Interesting. So that's kind of similar to how I felt about the Midwinter's Night Dram. It is finished in a sherry cask, and I also thought that was a very winter forward whiskey. He thinks the bourbon cask single malts are more of a spring and summer. So I'm curious to hear if other people. I feel like other people might feel that same way. I did say that I like the Compass Box. What was the Compass Box? Orchard House. To me, that to me is a spring whiskey. And then Whiskey Pear, who's here as well, he said, maybe going to the seasonal releases. Most distilleries have release codes A, B, and C, like Heaven Hill, like we know. Usually find the C releases, which tend to be higher proof and more bold flavored wise. I'd consider ECBP seasonal. That's interesting. I guess I've never really thought like they're targeting that. I do know that C's are typically the higher proof, right? They've not really traditionally been my favorites. Actually, A and B have usually been my favorites. Um, but I mean, no, I love all Legendary Barrel Proof. But that's a good point. I didn't really think about they timed the higher proof one with the colder months. Have you all ever thought about that? Maybe I've just never thought about that's crazy to think about it being intentional because of the seasons. Um, and he said Midwinter's Night Dram is a good example of a finished rye that fits perfectly with the pumpkin spice season. Although I haven't purchased one since they passed the 120 mark. Yeah, I bought them when I was at the distillery last year, so I had a good price on them. Cocktail wise, I love mint juleps in late spring and early summer. That's how I feel too. A rye flip is fantastic in winter with grated nutmeg on top. A rye flip? I've never heard of this. Teach me your ways. I'm very curious. I love nutmeg, so sounds really good. And then Matt says, I've always loved rare breed in the cold weather. Also, just higher proof bourbons and ryes in general. Yeah, that's kind of. And I think that's the common theme, right? Chris said, I prefer anything wet at the moment, as yesterday was 105 degrees Fahrenheit here. At least the new AC is installed tomorrow morning. Oh, that's crazy. Hope you are staying cool. feel like ACs always break at the worst times. It's probably because it's so hot, but like, or everyone's just using them at the same time. So I feel you. Zover said, now that you are living, or now that you have mild seasons living in Southern California, do you think that has influence on your choice? Potentially. I think maybe that's why it's harder for me to do now. Like when I was in South Carolina, we definitely had winters, like we had cold weather. And I think I was more likely to like think about, oh, what's something that's gonna like warm me up inside. Now I'm like not really because it's never really that cold here. So maybe that's why my opinion of it doesn't feel as strongly as some people. Some people are very adamant about like, oh no, this is a winter cocktail, this is a summer cocktail. Maybe you're right. I didn't even think about California just being, not like we have seasons. We just don't have obvious seasons. Like my thumbnail that I put up here, like with the different like trees. Yeah, we don't do that. It all looks the same year round. Either dry or we get our one rain of the year, and it's just a little bit green. But I feel you. Rye flip is a cocktail with cream and a whole egg milkshake. Like quick eggnog. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not opposed to it. Sounds interesting. I mean, I do love a whiskey sour with egg white. So okay, a whole egg though. We're talking about the yolk as well. Hmm. Okay. We do have seasons. That's what I'm saying. People that say we don't have seasons, we do have seasons. They're just like, yeah. So I feel you. Okay, so to finish off the Jim Beam, we're gonna pour something else too. But I think I actually prefer the Sunshine batch, Sunshine blend. Sorry. To me, it's more complex. It has a nicer nose, not a nicer nose. Sorry, a nicer mid palate and a nicer finish. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. If I was looking for an easy to drink whiskey on a pinch, I think that's very approachable. I could see so many people enjoying that. Not not super nutty like the Jim Beam White Label. More just a generic. This is almost like an easy drinking profile. I always say Elijah Craig's Small Batch is like one of my favorite like easy drinking bourbons to recommend to someone. This holds the same space. It's similar to the characteristics that I love about Elijah Craig's Small Batch. I wish this was the Jim Beam. I wish this was the standard Jim Beam because I would be praising it a lot more often on the channel. But with it being a special release, I like it. It does say limited edition. Sorry, it just says special release. And then this winter reserve says this one actually doesn't. So maybe this is going to be a regular release. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about special release. So that's interesting. So this might be a regular on the shelf product. I just wish. Now we're gonna go back to like Brandon said. It takes a minute to open up with a toasted bourbon. I wish it was. I don't know. I say that, but I think of some other cheaper toasted products like Elijah Craig toasted bourbon and toasted rye. Those are a bit overpowering with that toast note. It almost like you're taking a young whiskey and then you're toasting it. So it's like it doesn't pair as well as an older whiskey that's got a toasted cask, like a secondary cask. Yeah, I do like this one too. And you would think like it's middle of January. I would prefer this since it's our colder season. I mean, it's good. That actually, it has a different kind of body to it. It has like a chocolatey note, whereas this one's bright and very sweet and fruity. This one has a bit of a chocolatey note that I think would be really good in a Manhattan. This paired with a really good sweet vermouth, I think would make a great Manhattan. I actually just ran out of sweet vermouth, so I'm a little disappointed. I would totally have made one tonight. Emily says, thought Midwest Night Drum was port finish. Yes, sorry. I did say sherry, didn't I? I apologize. Finished in French oak port cast. When I often just I standardize fortified wine cask and I say sherry, but you're totally right. It is port, and I actually prefer port cast. So yeah, this is a perfect. I'm gonna pour this one next, I think. But I wanted to see like I mean y'all can kind of see my collection here. What did y'all say like for like spring whiskeys? 'Cause I'd love to grab a couple off my shelf, just like run back there and grab a few things, and let me see if I can get through that. That's kind of what I was hoping would happen in the chat. This was the only one that was actually brought up in the chat, so I'm like, oh no. So if y'all can name some whiskeys that you think might would be good for each season, I will run back there and gladly grab them. If not, I have a backup plan. Which y'all can let me know if y'all want to see this. If y'all don't want to see it, doesn't matter. I don't have to do it. I bought both the old Jim Beam Black label. Oh, come on. Y'all are familiar with these. Come on. Even if it doesn't focus, you're familiar with it. It's not focusing. Okay. The old Jim Beam Black Extra Aged and the new Jim Beam Black 7 year. I've actually never done a side by side of these two. So I wanted to buy both of them and see if the new release is better or equal to the previous one. So that's the backup plan if y'all don't name any other whiskeys for us to do. Otherwise, I will grab a summer. I have my winter whiskey, so I need a fall whiskey, a spring whiskey, and a summer whiskey. Like I said, I wish I had the spring, the orchard house, but I don't. I do have scotches though. So there's a certain category of scotch you could say. I mean, someone did say single malt they prefer during the warmer months. I can just grab a single malt back there. And then we do have plenty of bourbons over here. So let me know in the chat. If not, I'll go I will go analyze my shelves real quick. But yeah, I'm digging this one. I really like the Sunshine Blend. It's fun. I would love to try it in a cocktail. Oh, Whiskey Nose, loving the new logo. I've never seen that yet, actually. Whiskey Nose, that's awesome. Marty and Ginny, good to see you. And like I said, cool new logo. You guys check out Whiskey Nose. Really fun channel here on YouTube. All right, so I do know I have a winter one. So let me go ahead and pour Midwinter's Night Dram because this is the obvious choice. It literally has winter in the name. You know what was funny is I was talking to Justin. I was like, oh, I need a spring whiskey. And he's like, what about Springbank? I'm like, I don't think that counts. Like y'all, I mean, some of y'all know, like I'm not the biggest fan of Springbank. Um, and I was like, I think that's named Springbank because of like it's near a spring, not because it's like a spring whiskey. But good call. I don't have it as Springbank, but so I'm gonna pour the Midwinter's Night Dram. Oh, White Port Special Edition. That's true. I saw that at the distillery. They were charging like $60 for a pour of it, and I'm like, I'm not gonna pay that. So I didn't get it, but I would love to have tried it. Um, Miller's Night Dram is High West Rendezvous Rye finished with port and French oak barrels. Yep. Yeah, I am a fan of it. I think it's so classically, to me, I say holiday flavored because I can't decide if I think it's a Thanksgiving or a Christmas flavor. It just has it. Let me go to it. You know, now that we've been past both holidays very recently, it reminds me of a candle you would burn when you have family over, if that makes sense. It has a little bit of cranberry, I think. I think maybe that's what's making me think more Thanksgiving. Yeah, really just like frosty bright, like all the Christmas synonyms. Let's go for a taste though. Cheers. Mmm. Yeah, rye in general. It's funny because like straight rye whiskey, not finished, typically reminds me of a kind of grassy note, which maybe could be spring. I didn't think about that. But just like regular, 95.5 rye whiskey or 100 proof rye or 100% rye whiskey, with that grassy note could be a spring note. Do y'all think that or no? Because I think people think rye and more fall, but I feel like it could. Some of them, the more minty ones. Um, Whiskey Nose says Jenny send more casino live streams. Oh, I wish. It's so unpredictable to do a casino stream. Like there, you never know who you're gonna encounter. Also, the setup of just like first of all the Wi-Fi. Y'all have seen so many of my casino streams where the Wi-Fi goes out. That's not fun. Also, like it's just awkward to kind of hold it sometimes, and with a lot of people, we haven't done them since probably since COVID. I mean, I think we may have done one or two. We'll see. I mean, I've been going to a lot of casinos lately. We just got back from we are in Temecula and we went to Morongo. We did a was it Morongo? I forget which one it was. Anyways, we were at the Temecula casino and they did a New Year's celebration, so we were there for New Year's. And then we were back in South Carolina. There is a temporary casino set up. It's for the Catawba Indian Nation. It's called Two Kings Casino. They're actually planning to build a full casino. They actually have broke ground on it. It's actually being built now, and that is so crazy to me because it's so close to my hometown. It's like I'm like, maybe I should move back home. Not just because of that, because they're also planning to build a film studio there as well. I'm like, maybe if I need to move back home, I'll have a casino, I'll have my film studio, I'll have a job, you know. But yeah, no, I love visiting the casino. I feel awkward about filming there after a few not so great interactions. But glad that Jenny likes them. I enjoy making them when I get a chance to. Perry is here. What's up, Perry? Perry was just doing a live stream earlier doing the Heaven's Door, their new box set. Really fun. If y'all missed it, go check out the replay. Whiskey Pear is having some Lacheg. Interesting. I know I've had it. I don't have any myself. Whiskey knows that everyone's signed the like button. Yes. Seriously, like if y'all want to come back to this video, like if y'all think later on, like, oh, I just thought of, because this is how I am. Like I think about it after the fact, like, oh, I just thought of a perfect summer whiskey. Come back, leave a comment. I read every comment, so I'd love to see what your recommendations are. Pachanga or Pachanga, I forget how you pronounce it, but yes. Okay, sorry. I was saying Morongo. Morongo is closer to Palm Springs. I go to all of them. Donner Pass Whiskey is here. Hello, cheers to you. Good to see you. All right, so we poured the Midwinter Side Dram. I think it's consistent with what I felt like. It's spice. They even say on the back of the bottle, mulling spices, dried fruit, and creme anglaise. Anglaise? What is creme? Creme anglaise. Sweet cream? I don't know. Someone tell me. I don't speak French, I assume. I mean, it could be said. I don't know. I assume it's French. Mm, man, people have been like crapping on some of the recent releases of Midwinter's Night Dram, um, but I just enjoy the flavor profile so much. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember, but a while back I was singing praises of the Old Scout. They had a port finished rye whiskey that was a very affordable version of it. No, it wasn't as good as Midwinter's Night Dram, but it was the exact flavor profile that I love the most about this one, but at an affordable price point. I love that bottle. I actually saw it in the Carolinas. I almost bought it, but then I saw it somewhat available here in Southern California, so I passed up on it. English cream, okay. Vanilla pastry cream, think a custard-like flavor. A thin custard that you put on a dessert plate. Interesting. Okay, y'all are obviously way more cultured than I am. Um, Interesting. Okay, custard. Hmm. I've never really thought to like look for like a creaminess to it. Go for another taste now that I know that. Let's see what we can find. Matthew Park said Old Scout's some good stuff. I agree. A lot of their releases are really good. I get the sweetness, but I don't get necessarily, to me, at least on my opinion. I mean, oh, okay. I get a bit of a creme brulee, which kind of is a custard, right? Like it's like a custard with the what do you call it? Charred top of it. I get a little of a creme brulee, which is kind of like a little soury kind of. Maybe that's what I'm getting. Maybe that's it. But that combines with the fruit to me tastes like the holidays. I love it. Delicious. One of my favorite bottles, just in general. I didn't buy this year's release. I saw it go on sale, but it was like 150 or 160. I'm like, oh, that's pushing it on price, so I did not get it. Um, Same tasting note. Okay, awesome. Good to know. Well, I still have some time left. So I think instead of trying to go find, like I did the colors. I'm like, this is fall colors. This is spring color. Oh no, this is spring colors. I did pink, and this is summer. I don't know. I was trying to do the theme, but that doesn't match with the shelves. Like obviously these are bourbons, these are scotches, and these are not whiskeys at all. They're movies. But let's do the Jim Beam Black versus 7 Year. Y'all want to see that? Let me know if you want to see that. If not, I'll just leave. You can go do something else. But I know we're a little early. I know that was kind of a limited topic, but I did want to review those releases, especially because the Winter Reserve is so new. So now, while I prepare that, I'm going to pour the summertime blend into the Winter Reserve blend, and let's see what this. If we're blending all the seasons together, what does it make? Really curious to see with that brown rice bourbon that's added to the sunshine with a toasted barrel. I'm interested. I'm very intrigued. Okay, the toasted note on the nose comes out way more in the blend, even more so than I think it did on its own. I did say that I thought that the summertime, or sorry, the sunshine blend was very mellow. So I think when you combine that with the toasted characteristic, it kind of does remind you of a little bit older of a toasted whiskey. All right, so let's finish the blend, and then we're going to do that comparison. I think it kind of cancels each other out. I mean, I guess maybe that's what you think when summer and winter are combined, they cancel each other out. But the things that I love about each of them, when they're playing together, it it kind of deafens both of them. So like the mid palate's meh, the finish is meh. Honestly, that tastes just the same as regular Jim Beam White Label. Meh all around. Okay, so that was a fail. Don't blend the sunshine batch with the winter batch. But we will. We have another glass over. Oh, I thought we did. Nope, we do not. Okay. I don't have a dump glass. I do have a throat. Cheers. Ooh. That reminds me of college. Shout out to Jim Beam White Label. I mean, I don't think I didn't really do like if I was doing shots in college, it was mostly like vodka stuff. I'll be real. But sometimes I would go to events and they would have like, oh, do this shot like picklebacks, basically shot of whiskey and pickle juice. I did do that. Cliff needs a hands-free phone rig. Oh, for the casino. Yeah, I usually Sorry, I just saw Tony's comment. I I usually make Justin film in the casino, or at least make him set up the camera because like I'm over here like doing everything else. Um, I did say that. I did say that. I set myself up for that one. So yeah, definitely said that. All right. Moving on. Moving on. Let's do the Jim Beam, the old black extra aged. Again, this is the standard. Now it used to be an 8 year age statement. In case you can't tell, that's a B, not an 8. It's very. It looks like it could be an 8 though, right in the middle. It's definitely a B though because they took the 8 year age statement off of this one. This is the Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, 43% ABV, 86 proof. No age statement, like I said, it's just extra aged. I don't think they even have a minimum age statement on here. Yes, I did buy minis because I didn't need to buy a full bottle of these because I had a full bottle of this one, but I've already finished it, so I didn't want to buy another one. And this is the new Jim Beam Black. This one does have an age statement. It's got that same B, but in a gold logo. 7 years, it's 45% ABV, so 90 proof, a little bit higher proof. Um, Other than that, everything else is still the same on the label. So let's pour them both and let's see if they've changed anything. Because I will say, I consider this one of the best like rebrands. I mean, if I had to do a best rebrand of the year, absolutely this. Because one, the new bottle looks nice. I really like the matte black look to it. But two, um, bringing back an age statement, even though it is lower, I commend them for that versus just keeping it off because extra age means nothing. At one point, wasn't it called double aged at one point? But now it's extra age. I think it was called double aged 8 year. So I'm gonna rinse this glass real quick. By rinse, down my throat. It's all Jim Beam. I don't really worry about nuances there. All right, let's pour the 7 year in this glass. Color wise, they are darker than the Jim Beam White Label. That's for sure. Weirdly enough, I feel like it's gonna be hard to show. They're pretty close. The extra age looks a tiny bit darker, but I mean, again, it could just be the lighting right now. So I'm gonna set this over here so I don't forget which one is which. Bam. Bam. All right, let's try the old black extra aged Jim Beam. Well, okay, let me reset my palate again with the Jim Beam White Label. I keep going back to this one and I don't enjoy it. It's kind of like what I say about Maker's Mark, right? It's like the only one I don't like is the standard Maker's Mark. How does I keep going out of focus? I think it's because I messed up with holding it too close to the camera, so apologies. I think my autofocus is freaking out. Okay, Jim Beam White Label, set the palette. Palete's been set. I don't know what that did, but you know what? It did. Do a little rinse. All right, Jim Beam Black extra aged. Okay, the nose is different. Yeah. Whereas the Jim Beam White Label has none of the oak characteristic to it. The oak comes in this one. And I like that because y'all know I love, I didn't say it's at the top of the stream, but those of you that know me know, Jim Beam is one of my favorite distilleries. They make Knob Creek. Knob Creek 12 year is my standard on the shelf. If I had to pick one bourbon for the rest of my life at a decent price, it would be the Knob Creek 12 year. One of my favorites. So I love older Jim Beam products. So this one does kind of remind me, on the nose at least, of the oak that comes in a Knob Creek. Maybe not the 12-year, but like definitely similar to like some of the 9-year Knob Creeks on the nose. Very light though, very thin. I can tell this is, like I said, 86 proof. No, I mean better than 80, right? All right, let's try it. Jim Beam Black Extra Aged. That's good. Yeah, I mean I think it's a significant improvement over the Jim Beam White Label. I've always felt that, right? Like, because the Jim Beam White was, what is it in your area? For me, it's like 12, $13 for a full size bottle. This one's always been around like 16, 17. It's always been like $4 more. And it's like, to me, I think it's a worthy upgrade. If you're not just doing it to get drunk and you're doing it to actually taste whiskey, Jim Beam Black Extra Age to me is a step up from standard Jim Beam. Now, not quite as big of a leap as like a Knob Creek or something like that, but it is a step up, and I commend someone that's willing to do that. You know, especially if they're really early in their whiskey journey and they're like, I don't want to just be shooting Jim Beam White Label. Like, okay, we'll try this one. It's a little bit more flavor to it, a little bit more character. You can actually sit with it and think on it. There's a little more body too. All right, Perry is off to sleep. Good night. Hopefully you sleep well. I was gonna say hopefully you can make it to the hangout, but like obviously if you're going to sleep you won't. So good to see you, Perry. All right. Well, that is a great first impression of the Jim Beam Black Extra Age. Let's compare it now to the new Jim Beam Black 7 years old. This is replacing, just so y'all, if it wasn't clear earlier, that the 7-year-old is replacing this one. So it's this Black Extra Age is going away, and this Black 7-year is replacing it. So let's see if it's any better. Cheers. On the nose, it's not as immediately standing out. So for me, the Black Extra Age on the nose, that wood character that I really love about Jim Beam, stands out. This one, it doesn't, which makes me wonder, are they putting some older whiskey into the Extra Age? Were they, at least? Now remember, the 7-year age statement doesn't mean that it's all 7 years. It means the youngest whiskey in here is 7 years, which is a good thing. I love seeing that. But there's a chance that the Extra Age may have had 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Who knows what's in this one? This one we know it's at least 7 years old. So it could be marketing, it could be younger stuff. We don't really know. I will say the nose to me isn't as good. The nose on the Extra Age is better. But it's not just about nose, it's about flavor. There's a nice sweetness there. A little bit of that creme brulee we were getting on the Miller's Night Dram, believe it or not. All right, let's give a taste to the Jim Beam 7-year Black. Different flavor profiles completely. Wow. They didn't try to replicate what they did with the Jim Beam Black Extra Aged. This is a full-on new product, which kind of scares me because if you're someone that likes the Jim Beam Black Extra Age, you might be thrown off by this. It's a different flavor profile. This is crazy because I'm kind of like mad at myself because I've been considering this Jim Beam Black 7-year, like, I think I included it in my top 10 of last year because I'm like, oh cool, they brought out age statement about it. This is a good whiskey. But side by side, I don't know. I may have different opinions. I'm gonna do a palate cleanse real quick. The 7-year has a very distinct difference between the mid palate and the finish. That's different. The Extra Age is very similar. This one up front, a bit of like younger oak. It tastes like a little bit like younger oak. A little drying on the back of the palate. Good finish. I like the finish on it. It almost feels a little more muted. Oh wow. Now I'm really regretting putting that in my top 10. It could just be today. Everyone's palate is different every day. But right now, this black extra age, oh yeah, 100% would prefer this one. I'm not even gonna like fake it. I thought that this new 7-year was gonna be better because there's an age statement back on it, and it's higher proof. I really think the flavor of this black extra age is better. So these are gonna be on the shelf for a while. They made so much of this. I recommend you guys try them both side by side yourself. It's a fun, very affordable way to do this. First of all, if you buy the minis like I did, I mean these were like $2 or $3 each, so very affordable way to compare. Plus, like it makes it more fun. Like yes, you could just shoot these, right? But you can also taste them and compare them. I think that makes the experience more enjoyable and it makes it last longer because you're not just shooting it. You're like, no, I'm gonna analyze this. I'm gonna be an expert. So weirdly enough, I prefer the Jim Beam Extra Aged over the 7-year. Didn't expect that ending, but there we go. And that's what happens when you do an honest side by side. So, all right, I think that wraps us for tonight. I know I rambled a bit. I know I went a little bit off topic, but I wanted to stick in the Jim Beam territory here for a bit. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the stream. It was a little different than what I normally do. It's not like a normal lineup. It's like a topic, but we'll see. Maybe next time I'll do a little more thought out, and I'll be a little more prepared. I realize this went a little off the rails, but hopefully you enjoyed the stream. Watching the replay or watching live, leave me a thumbs up if you did. If not, it's okay. You don't have to dislike, but just you can just go away. But leave a comment below if you do have some recommendations for spring, summer, fall, or winter whiskeys. Would love to see those as we go out through the year. This video will still be up, so yeah, let me know what you think. Cheers, y'all. Cheers, Matthew. The minis are very cute, as Emily says. All right, y'all. I will see y'all next Thursday. Do not have a plan yet, but stay tuned. I may do a Tony back at Donut sent me a really amazing flight, so I think I might do the Tony flight next week. Tony, if you're interested, if you're available, let me know. I want to do it while you're in the chat, at least. So cheers. I'll see y'all next week. Until then, this has been Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with an 80s twist. I will see you next Thursday. My outro video's not set. What the heck? Oh my god, it's glitching. Glitching. It's glitching. Okay. We're gonna manually do it because StreamYard is not being fun tonight. Alright. Cheers, y'all. Bye.